to go?
6 feet off this.
Welcome to the Plan Commission meeting for July 7th. Hopefully you all had a nice 4th. Just a quick note to the commissioners. We have a lot of items on the agenda today. Now, none of them should take super long, but let's try to be focused if we can. And for those that have not had the opportunity to come to a meeting before, the way things work here is once city staff presents on an item, we open it up just to the commission for technical questions. Once we're done with technical questions, we open it up to the audience for any kind of commentary or questions you may have. If you have something to say, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address so we have that for the minutes, and try to keep your comments as close to the agenda item as possible. With that, let's call the roll.
David Borsak, Ed Bowen,
Here.
Jeffrey Tomes, Thomas Fartak,
Here.
John Hintz,
Here.
Steve Cummings,
Here.
Kathleen Kropp, here, Gary Gray,
Here.
Donna Laurie, Robert Weigert,
Here.
Carl Nolenberger.
Here.
Let's move on to the approval of the minutes from June 16th. Are there any corrections or additions to those?
Move approval. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion clearly passes. Let's move on to item number 1, grant privilege in the street adjacent to 1221 Knapp Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You bet.
Multimedia Communications and Engineering, on behalf of Winnebago County Information Systems Department, is requesting a privilege in the street to install a 2-inch underground duct or a conduit across Knapp Street, east of Winnebago County's maintenance facility, located at 1221 Knapp Street. Up on the screen of an aerial photo highlighting the proposed location of the privilege request. The petitioner is proposing to install a 2-inch ADPE duct across Knapp Street right-of-way to house Winnebago County fiber optic within that conduit. The cable will then connect to existing Wisconsin Public Service poles on the east side of Knapp Street. The ducts can be installed by using a directional bore, which should minimize restoration work. And the work will be done between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. and won't conflict with the city's noise ordinance. Once the privilege is approved by Common Council, work is planned to begin in August of 2015. The petitioner has been coordinating with the Department of Public Works to ensure that the proposed duct won't interfere with any city utilities or facilities. But our Public Works is requesting that the final design be approved and coordinated by the Public Works office. With that, that's just a schematic of the plan submitted by the petitioner, showing the crossing and then connection to the WPS poles. And with that, staff is recommending approval of the privilege request for the underground duct as requested. And we haven't had one of these in a while, but we generally have 10 conditions tied to these privilege requests.
All right. Technical questions from the commission? Seeing none. Anybody from the audience here to speak to this item today? Seeing none, back to the commission.
Move to approve.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, let's call the roll.
Bowen,
Aye.
Wojtek, I'm
Aye.
sorry,
Oh.
last, Hintz,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Kropp, aye, Gray,
Aye.
Weigert,
Aye.
Nolenberger,
Aye.
Wojtek.
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
All right. 8-0, I think.
8-0, pardon me.
Moving on to item number 2, residential design standards variance request for the closure of one window on the west side elevation of property located at 443 West 7th Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
The applicant is requesting approval of a variance from the city's residential design standards to permit the closure of one window located on the west side elevation of a single-family home at 443 West 7th Avenue. The variance is being requested to Code Section 3035N3A, which states that all existing window openings on front or side building facades shall be maintained and not closed or filled. Here is the subject site. The subject property is a residential lot located at 443 West 7th Avenue, and the 400 block of West 7th Avenue contains predominantly single-family uses, and the area is zoned R2, two-family dwelling district. And here's an aerial shot of the subject site. And the Plan Commission is authorized to grant variances from the strict application of the standards when it is determined that one or more of the following apply. The intent of the standards have been incorrectly interpreted, The standards do not apply to the particular project, or the enforcement of these standards causes unnecessary hardship. And here's the top picture shows the subject window, which is between two double-hung windows, right here. And the main reason they want to remove that window is that there was a recent bathroom remodeling project which closed off that window, but there has been, due to moisture, that window has had some mold and rotting going on there. So they like to get that removed to prevent further mold, which could cause health concerns. And also, they would like to, if they can remove it, they would like to add shutters to the two remaining windows, which right now they don't have room to add shutters for all the windows, which would match the front and side facades, which have shutters. And the petitioner would like to remove the window, insulate, and put siding over the opening, and the siding would match the rest of the house. And staff believes that the closure of the window at this location would not detract from the curb appeal of the block, as the window being removed does not match the existing window on the facade in size, style, and design. In addition, the removal of the window may improve curb appeal, since it would allow the applicant to install shutters on the existing matching windows on the facade, which will match the shutters in the front and east of the house. And removal of the window would not adversely affect the neighborhood character, as the remaining matching double-hung windows are consistent with neighborhood houses which do not have a third smaller window on their side facades. And staff recommends approval of the variance request to permit closure of a side window at 443 West 7th Avenue with the following conditions. These standards do not apply to this, with the following findings actually. The standards do not apply to this particular project because the proposed window closure will not adversely affect the structure's architectural design, the neighborhood character, or curb appearance of the block. And enforcement of the standards may cause an unnecessary hardship due to potential health concerns associated with mold accumulation.
Excellent, thank you. Technical questions from the commission? Gary?
Yes, I guess first question is, in the request, the applicant says that they were told that the window could not be removed. Was that before the building standards were approved, or was there a miscommunication between the building permit department and the owners?
Well, this request came in after the design standards went into place recently, which is why the variance is required.
Yeah, I understand the May 28th date, but it says that they were not. They were told that we could not remove the small rotted bathroom window, and I was just wondering when they were told. Were they told? Were they told on the 28th that they couldn't remove the window without the exception, or? I'm just kind of confused.
I'm not sure the date that they were told that, but the reason the window is still in place, but it has been closed off on the inside due to the bathroom remodeling project. But I'm not exactly sure when they were first told about that.
Okay. The second question is, can you give me a brief description of how removing this window would enhance the curb appeal?
Well, right now, there are shutters on the east and front facades, and if they can remove this window, the two existing facades, or the two existing windows on the west side could also have shutters and match the existing windows on the other facades.
So in other words, curb appeal is consistency between windows, even though the one window would be beyond the 20 feet that we were talking about in regards to zoning or code update. Okay, no more questions.
Other technical questions? Seeing none, anybody here from the public to speak at this item today? Going once, going twice. All right, back to the commission.
Motion approved.
Second.
Moved by Bob, seconded by Steve. And then we have comment or question on the motion there, Gary?
I'd like to make an amendment. I would like to move the amendment that we drop condition number 2 in regards to unnecessary hardship, because I do not think this case applies to the standard of unnecessary hardship.
Yeah, someone would have to second that motion. One seems to be willing to do that, so that dies. Back to the original motion. Any other comments or questions about the original motion to approve? Kath?
I think this is going to enhance the home rather than detract, so it's a good idea.
Would agree.
Any other comments or questions? All right, let's call the roll.
Bowen,
Aye.
Hens,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Croft,
Aye?
Gray,
No.
Weigert,
Aye.
Nolenberger,
Aye.
Wojtek.
Aye.
Motion carried, 7-1.
Let's move on to item number 3, accept storm sewer easement at 525 and 1135 West 20th Avenue.
Thank you. The Department of Public Works is requesting acceptance of a storm sewer easement from Winnebago County at 525 and 1135 West 20th Avenue. Here's the subject site, and the adjacent subject parcels are a combined 611 acres in size, and they're located along West 20th Avenue and Knapp Street at Whitman Regional Airport. And the Glatz Creek watershed has historically experienced severe flooding and moderate to severe rainfall events. And in 2009, the stormwater utility began an in-depth analysis into Glatz Creek watershed by hiring McMahon Associates, Inc., to prepare a stormwater management plan for the entire watershed. And as a result of this analysis, the Department of Public Works began the construction of a relief storm sewer for Glatz Creek watershed in 2013. And the next phase of the relief storm sewer will extend into Whitman Regional Airport, which is why the storm sewer easement will be necessary. And here's the easement documents. In order to construct the storm sewer through Whitman Regional Airport, the city needs to obtain a storm sewer easement from Winnebago County, and the proposed 30-foot wide easement will run north to south along a portion of the east property line starting near the end of Knapp Street at 1135 West 20th Avenue and run west to east through the property at 525 West 20th Avenue, ending at the parcel's east property line. And the Department of Public Works reviewed the proposed easement and reported that the easement will not conflict with city utilities. And here's the Glatz Creek watershed, which is what this easement is supposed to help out with for flooding concerns. And staff recommends approval of the accepting of the proposed storm sewer easement as requested.
Okay, thank you. Technical questions? Yes, John?
Just one, and I don't know, maybe I'm getting too far into this, but the way the water typically flows is towards, or it will be from left to right as far as the screen goes, so it will be west to east. And I was just wondering how this particular flowage is going to help alleviate the flooding concern from those flooding concerns that are taking place on the east side of the airport generally, and that's where the water's flowing anyway, and all we're doing is adding another way for water to flow.
Sounds like the answer man is here.
James
I
Robbie.
understand my logic.
Yes, I understand your logic. James Robbie from the Department of Public Works. The primary flooding concerns that have really historically been experienced are actually very severe in 20th Avenue. There's currently a storm sewer in 20th Avenue, starting at approximately South Park Avenue and going all the way to the former Sioux Line Railroad tracks. This proposed easement will extend up to the intersection of Knapp Street and 20th Avenue, so that storm sewer that is in 20th Avenue right now will then get, all that water will get diverted through the storm sewer in this easement, and it will be reducing the loading on 20th Avenue and thereby significantly reducing the flooding that is experienced on 20th Avenue.
And will it have any effect on the area I was talking about, which is more over towards the Oshkosh Corp area or anything? Or is this just for 20th Avenue basically?
The primary purpose here is, one, to reduce the loading on 20th Avenue, but two, the first phase of this relief sewer started at the 24th Avenue boat launch and extended up 24th to Doty and then over to 23rd and all the way up. So we are actually also reducing the amount of water that hits Glatz Creek right there behind Oshkosh Corporation and routing it down this relief sewer and getting it directly out to the lake. So it's a combination of both efforts.
Other technical questions? Okay, thank you. Anybody here from the public to speak to this item? Going once, going twice. Okay, back to the commission.
Move
Gary?
for approval.
Right, been moved. Second by Robert. Any discussion on the motion? Questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Bowen,
Aye.
Hens,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Crop,
Aye.
Gray,
Aye. Aye.
Weigert, Nolenberger,
Aye.
Wojtek.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
Okay, moving on to item number 4, accept storm sewer easement at 150 North Campbell Road, Foxville.
Thank you.
Yes.
The Department of Public Works, along with AECom, is requesting acceptance of a storm sewer easement from Fox Valley Technical College at 150 North Campbell Road. Here's the subject property. The subject 12.3 acre property is located at the corner of Ohio Street and Witzel Avenue, east of North Campbell Road. A multi-purpose Fox Valley Technical College building is located on the subject property, as well as an athletic field to the south of the building. And the 3rd Avenue watershed, which is seen here, is a fully developed urban watershed with a storm sewer outfall at the Wisconsin-Ohio Street Bridge. And in 2000, the Department of Public Works began an analysis of the main storm sewer in this watershed in conjunction with the planned reconstruction of the Department of Public Works field operations facility. And the Department of Public Works contracted with AECom Technical Services to analyze the watershed. And as a result of the analysis, it was recommended to construct a new outfall to the Fox River. And this outfall will reduce the impact of flooding within the watershed, and most notably on Ohio Street. And in order to construct the storm sewer, the city needs to obtain a storm sewer easement from Fox Valley Technical College. And the easement, proposed 30-foot wide easement will start along Witzel Avenue in the southeast corner of the parcel and run northeast parallel to Ohio Street, ending at the Fox River. And here's the easement document. And the Department of Public Works reviewed the proposed easement and reported that the easement will not conflict with city utilities, and staff recommends approval of the acceptance of the proposed storm sewer easement as requested.
Great, thank you. Technical questions, Commissioner? Okay, seeing none. Anyone here from the public to speak of this item today? Okay, back to the commission.
Motion to approve.
Any questions or additions to the motion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Cullen,
Aye.
Vince,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Crop,
Aye.
Gray,
Aye.
Weigert,
Aye.
Nolenberger,
Aye.
Wojtek.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
Moving on to item number 5, authorization to acquire property and dedicate right-of-way needed for reconstruction of North Main Street from New York Avenue to Murdoch Avenue.
Thank you. This request is part of Wisconsin DOT's North Main Street reconstruction project. Per the city's agreement with the DOT, the city is responsible for land acquisitions, acceptance of temporary limited easements as part of the relocation order, which will be approved by the Common Council. This project involves the reconstruction of North Main Street from New York Avenue to Murdoch Avenue. And reconstruction involves the purchase of right-of-way dedication of a portion of a property located at 1155 North Main Street. Up on the screen, I have the project area highlighted, again, North Main Street, beginning on the south side at New York Avenue and ending at Murdoch Avenue. This project is not designed to increase capacity, but only to replace aging infrastructure. The current North Main Street is 38 feet in width with two 12-foot driving lanes, 7-foot parking lanes on both sides, and 5-foot sidewalks and 7 to 8-foot terraces. The DOT is proposing to construct a 40-foot wide street, which will include two 11-foot drive lanes, 5-foot bike lanes heading in both directions, an 8-foot parking lane on the west side only, and 5-foot sidewalks and 7.5-foot terraces. This project is going to allow the city to upgrade aging facilities, including water main, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer. The subject site is mostly residential in nature and affecting 88 properties. Go on to the next site here. This project is going to require the land acquisition of one single piece of property located at 1155 North Main Street, which is at the southwest corner of North Main and West New York Avenue. The parcel is triangular shaped, approximately 260 square feet in area, and this acquisition is needed for installation of an accessible handicap ramp at the corner. With that, the construction of North Main is scheduled for late 2016 and is going to be included in the 2016 capital improvements program. And staff is recommending, there's just a portion of the transportation plat showing that right-of-way acquisition. And with that, staff is recommending approval of the property acquisition and right-of-way dedication for the North Main Street project from New York to Murdoch as requested.
Thank you. Technical questions, Commissioner? Yes, Gary?
Has the city talked to the owner of the property on the southwest side of Maine and New York?
James, are you
Because-
aware? I'm not sure.
Because it seems to me like that the city's going to be taking some of its parking area. I'm not sure how active that business is.
The city has contracted with acquisition expert, Moss and Associates, and they handle all the discussions with the property owners.
And have they contacted them, as far as you know, or don't you know?
I do not know for certain
Okay.
if they have made that contact or not. I would believe they have, but I do not know for certain.
I think it's important for the city to make sure that there's communication with that property owner. By the fact that like I said, I believe this triangle shape is going to take reasonable size of the parking lot. I guess that's all my questions. That's my question.
Other technical questions from the commission? Thank you. Anybody from the public here to speak to this item today? Okay, public commentary is closed. Back to the commission.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any comments or questions on the motion? Ed? All right, let's call the roll.
Owen,
Aye.
Hintz,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Crop, Gray,
Aye.
Weigert,
Aye.
Millenberger, Wojtek.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
Okay, rolling right along here. Item number 6, plan development review and conditional use permit for a public utility structure, a wet storm water detention basin west of 1015 South Washburn Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
A big one.
Yes. The Department of Public Works is requesting a plan development review and a conditional use permit for the construction of a wet storm water detention basin, generally located at the southwest corner of West 9th Avenue and South Washburn Street, which is more or less west of 1015 South Washburn, which is the Hotel 6 property. Up on the screen, I have an existing land use map showing the subject site here and surrounding land uses. The subject site currently consists of 4 parcels totaling 11.11 acres of an undeveloped island located behind commercial and industrial developments to the east, commercial and residential or single-family residential to the north, and then mostly multiple family to the south and west. In 2006, the Plan Commission reviewed and recommended approval for an official mapping request, which was approved by the Common Council. And in approximately 2010, the city purchased the 4 subject parcels from the previous owners. And this is a closer up aerial shot of the site. In Public Works narrative, they state that this proposed basin has a unique ability to be able to contribute stormwater to both the Campbell Creek and Sawyer Creek watersheds, with the Campbell Creek watershed receiving the bulk of the runoff in most scenarios. Historically, Campbell Creek's watershed has suffered moderate to severe flooding and minor to moderate rainfall events, and this issue has been known since the 1960s. In 2005, the city's consultant prepared a detailed stormwater management plan, resulting in the recommendation of several upgrades, including the Tippler area dry detention basin, Tippler conveyance upgrades, and the West Haven Golf Club clubhouse area detention basin and armory area detention basin. Okay, here's a drawing of the proposed basin, or engineering plan of the proposed basin. As designed, wet basin, which is located north, is facing over to the right side. The primary basin is approximately 233 feet wide by 290 feet deep, located at the northern edge of the property. And then to the south, it's going to be connected to a approximately 290-foot by 122-foot half-circle shaped forebay, which is going to be used for sedimentation. Together, these two basins will function primarily for quality control by removing suspended solids and various contaminants from the stormwater. The remaining south half of the portion, or the detention basin, will function as overflow storage during heavier storm events, and then slowly release water into the downstream system. The proposed basin will have capacity to store 84 acre-feet of water, which is approximately 27.5 million gallons of water, and then discharge out at the northeast corner of the property. Other benefits this basin will provide is it will slow the release of runoff into the downstream storm sewer system. It will allow the settling of suspended solids, which is presumed or proposed to be approximately 25 tons per year, and also remove phosphorus from the stormwater runoff, which will account for approximately 130 pounds per year. Construction of the basin is included in the 2015 Capital Improvements Program, and another storm sewer project is scheduled for 2016, which will more efficiently get water from the upstream areas to the basin. This plan also does show proposed landscaping. It shows typical emergent plantings covering the basin safety shelf, which kind of outlines the two basins on the north side of the property. The plantings listed consist of a wide variety of native plants and grasses suited to this type of environment. And then along the periphery of the basin, in the Moe Fescue planting zone, the plan calls for several clusters of 3 to 4 arborvitae clusters located approximately 100 feet apart. And in addition to the arborvitae, the plan calls for 2 bur oaks to be planted at each corner of the proposed basin. Staff's reviewed the landscape plan and does not have a concern with any of the quantities and varieties proposed. Public Works has generally done a fairly good job with their landscaping related to stormwater and stormwater basin developments. Let's see, let me go to this site here. Oh, let me go back, I'm sorry. Access to the site will be made via South Washburn Street, so no additional easements will be required to access the site. The comprehensive plan identifies this area as suitable for commercial development. Staff's an opinion that the proposed basin is consistent with the plan's recommendation in that public facilities are permitted within and are a typical component of commercial zone districts by conditional use. And staff feels that this project is in the best interest of the city, and the basin will improve water quality and should provide relief to downstream properties, especially those located in the Campbell Creek watershed. Let's see, this last slide here shows a portion of the Sawyer Creek watershed in yellow. There's a shared watershed between Campbell Creek and Sawyer Creek in green here. And this is the Campbell Creek watershed in blue, and the red circle is the location of the proposed basin. With that, staff believes that the development meets the standards of planned developments identified in the zoning ordinance, and is recommending approval of the stormwater detention basin as proposed.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Technical questions, commissioners? Yes, Gary?
What are side slope planning zones and more fiscal planning zone?
James can probably answer that better than I.
The normal fescue planting zone is just that. It is a planting of a normal or a lomo fescue grass that is typically used on the detention basins around the upper perimeter where the Department of Public Works will need access for routine inspections and maintenance. So by going with a lomo, normal fescue planting, we're able to reduce our operations and maintenance efforts because it will require significantly less mowing than a typical turf grass will. The side slope planting zone utilizes a mixture of native prairie plantings which are suitable to typically drier applications and are allowed, infrequent inundation. As you get a little further down, you also get into a shoreline planting zone, which is a wetter mixture, which is very near the water's edge. So it's various zones of types of plants that are suitable for the moisture conditions that will be experienced along that side slope area.
Okay, thank you. I think it's a very good idea. The second question I have is, are we approving a plan development today or just reviewing a plan development? And if we're approving a plan development, why are we approving a plan development?
You're reviewing it and making a recommendation to the Common Council.
But I guess the question is, why do we have to do a plan development as opposed to just approving the basin without the plan development?
A portion of the property is located in a plan development, the CTUPD. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
I don't think I mentioned that during my presentation. The 3 of the 4 properties on the west side are currently zoned R1 single family, and the easternmost one is zoned C2PD general commercial with the plan development overlay. And we felt that since a portion of the pond is located in the plan development, that we should run it through the plan development process.
Okay, good. I think that's a good idea, I just was curious. Thank you.
Any other technical questions? Okay, seeing none, anyone here from the public to speak to this item today? Okay, back to the commission.
Motion approval.
I think Bob got it first. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, let's call the roll.
Bowen,
Aye.
Hens.
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Crop. Gray,
Aye.
Weigert,
Aye.
Nolenberger,
Aye.
Wojtek.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
Item number 7, zone change from R1 Single Family Residence District to R3 Multiple Dwelling District with Plan Development Overlay, Development Plan Review for the creation of a mixed-use residential development, and right-of-way vacation on property located at the 4100 block of Jackson Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's actually, as you had just mentioned, there's
Yes.
3 items, A, B, and C, that are included with this presentation. I'm going to kind of go through them all,
Please.
and then I'll have them as separate actions at the end.
okay.
So this should be kind of familiar with you. Plat just had come through not too long ago, preliminary plat, but this is basically bringing up 2 parcels, one that's encircled within this roadway, and a second parcel that's out here. They're generally located at the 4100 block of Jackson Street on the west side, basically north of Norton Avenue, south of the sheriff's, and east of the prison and prison property. Altogether, this is about 52.6 acres. It's undeveloped land right now. There's approximately 2.5 acres of dedicated but undeveloped road right-of-way, basically connecting Western Avenue on its far western side over to Nielsen Avenue on the western side. That's the existing conditions. As I had said, in April of this year, a 16-lot land division preliminary plat with new roadway locations came through the Plan Commission, and that was approved. The surrounding areas I had mentioned is kind of a mixed use. You have singles primarily to the south in the town of Oshkosh, sort of institutional in the north and west, and a mix of residential and open spaces across Jackson Street. The comp plan for this area does recommend residential uses. So you can kind of see on the map, you see that western portion of the lot is zoned R1, eastern portion of the two lots are zoned R3 PD. This is an aerial picture showing the site itself. As I had mentioned, is undeveloped. There's a large borrow pit that is filled with water on the far western portion of the lot in that R1 area. So the first item really to talk about is the zone change. The purpose of the rezoning, that would be taking this R1 area and making it R3 PD to match up with the eastern portion of the area. Purpose of that rezoning is to bring all the development area into a common zoning, which then matches property lines. It will also allow, which I'll talk about in a second, the mixed-use residential project. And it'll also allow the stormwater management facilities and other utilities to be tied in to the overall project itself. The rezoning section is about 33, almost 34 acres, and the remaining 19 acres would not be rezoned. That would stay the R3 PD. As I had mentioned, the comp plan does recommend residential zoning for the area. As you've heard me say probably many times before, the benefits of the plan development is you get community review, plan commission review, and comment and council approval, and conditions can be added. So that recommendation to go to the R3 PD is on there. So this is just kind of zooming in, showing you the existing roadway to be vacated. This is the overall site as being proposed as the plan development itself. Again, it's about 52.5 acres, 52.6 acres, and it's proposed to consist of 9 single-family lots on the southern portion of this new dedicated roadway. So the roadway changed a little bit. It's now accessing Jackson Street. It's coming around, cul-de-sacing at the end of the property line, but the roadway dedication would continue to the property line. So if Western is ever continued to the north, they would connect together. At this time, it would be a temporary cul-de-sac in there, but it would access this park space. But this is the new roadway, so you'd have the 9 single-family lots to the south. They range anywhere in size from 7,200 square feet, which is the city's minimum for a single-family lot, to 12,300 square feet, which is quite larger. Generally on the two ends, and some in the middle are larger. North of this new proposed road are 5 duplex lots or 2-family lots. They're a lot bigger. They range in size from 11,000 square feet to 18,000 square feet. Our code would require a 7,200 square foot minimum, so they're quite large. The third parcel is this very large piece, again encompassing this far western portion and the multifamily that's far to the north. That is going to, it's about 40 acres of property. The single family and 2-family lots are going to be marketed for sale, so you're not going to see specific designs in the plan development, but the lot layout themselves. But the apartment or the multifamily development is going to be coming through as this plan development. There's also 2 outlots. Outlot 1 is sort of this large piece right here. It's about 3.8 acres. You can see this outline in the middle is a wetland delineation, so it's a very large piece of wetland. That area would remain open space in perpetuity unless laws were to change and the plan development were to be amended. Outlot 2 is over here. That is about 3.2 acres. That is being proposed to be dedicated to the public as park space. Any subdivision plat that comes through has a requirement for dedication of parkland or of payment in lieu. The Parks Department has, in their outdoor rec plan, identified this area as needing a neighborhood park, which is like a 3 to 5 acre park, so this fits in just perfectly. They are actually bringing it to the Parks Board on Monday for Parks Board's opinion to accept it. Staff is recommending approval for that on Monday. So the multifamily, again, kind of zoom in a little bit closer, is on the north side of this new proposed road behind the duplex lots. There are 13 2-story 8-unit apartment buildings and 2 2-story 16-unit apartment buildings for a total of 136 total units. Parking is being proposed at 137 detached garage spaces and 222 surface stalls for a total of 359 spaces. 67 of those are being marked out as guest parking. They do meet our code requirements. They exceed our code requirements for the number of parking, which would only call for 272 stalls. but typically you add more in the multifamily for the guest parking, for any types of parties or visitors that you have. The density for this project is very low for the city standards at approximately 3 units per acre. So that is very, very low density. A lot of that is because you have extensive amount of wetlands out here in the western portion. You have an existing pond or borrow pit, proposed stormwater detention. You have this wetlands and then this parkland dedication. So really a lot of this area right now is remaining open space, so that density is very, very small. But as I had mentioned, the lot sizes exceed our code requirements as well. Overall, green space is going to be about 86% of this site, or open space. Impervious surfaces, which is pavement and buildings, occupy about 14%. So to kind of talk about the, well, I'll go back to the full thing. The layout, once again, you kind of have 2 campus complexes for the apartments, and maybe I'll go in a little bit closer. So this would be sort of one campus complex and a second. They are connected by pedestrian walkways, but they have individual roadway accesses off of this new road. So they're kind of separated that way. The buildings are on the exterior with the parking on the interior, basically all the way around the site. The garages are centrally located, and there are garage spaces for each unit. You have a large guest parking area here in the sort of the central area of the eastern campus, for lack of a better term, but there are also guest parking and handicap stalls in front of every building. So there's a limited number of guest stalls in front of each building, and then there's sort of these larger areas for guest parking and some more guest parking in that location as well. As I had mentioned, the duplex lots are situated here along the entryway to this roadway. Their rear lot areas would be abutting the multifamily. There's a large 25-foot setback located in here. Obviously, the buildings are facing the back of the duplex lots. Single-family lots are purposefully put on the southern lot line to abut the single-family lots in the Jackson Heights subdivision in the town. And then obviously you have the wetland here, which encompasses the rest of the single-family lots in the town, so that would remain open space once again. We'll kind of zoom out a little bit further. You can see a detention basin is being proposed far on the western portion of this sort of the open lot area. This detention basin would service this entire development area, and then again the park, neighborhood park, would not only service this development itself, but it would service the residential uses that are existing to the south that don't have a lot of open park space in this area. I mentioned access, primary access to the roadway is going to be coming off of Jackson Street. It originally had come off of Nielsen in an agreement with the town and the DOT. It was determined that this connection would not be continued, and we could get a new curb cut off of Jackson, assuming the Norton curb cut would be closed, and that would be closed as part of all this project. Again, it's going to cul-de-sac now, making a very long cul-de-sac. However, the right-of-way does continue, as I had mentioned, through the property, although it won't be built in the short term. The site plan itself shows 2 signs. They might be difficult to see here, but there's one sign located on Jackson Street, a large monument sign. It's about 32 square feet. And they have another monument sign located at this driveway entrance. You probably heard this say this a lot of times before. These types of developments have a difficult time identifying and showing their identification. Subdivisions are allowed specific signage, apartments are allowed specific signage, but what we're recommending in here is the 2 signs that they are proposing, but we're also recommending a base standard modification to allow a 3rd sign at their other driveway entrances, as the 2 campuses are kind of operating individually. Very limited in size. We're recommending the 2 driveway signs be no taller than 5 feet or 18 square feet, which is what was proposed by the developer. And then sort of their large Jackson Street identifier is a little bit bigger, 10 feet and 32 square feet. So we're recommending that as a base standard modification. This is their landscape plan, which has been submitted with their application. Landscaping obviously is going to have final approval during site plan review, but they're showing an extensive amount of shrubs and trees at the perimeter of the project and throughout the multifamily area, and I'm focused here on the multifamily. They don't show anything on the single or duplex lots. Those are typically done by the owners when they develop the lots. But you can see a heavy concentration on this north lot line. The main reason for this heavy concentration here is this is an existing single-family site. It's a very large lot and probably, if I had to give my professional opinion, will develop sometime in the future. But right now, maybe I can go back to the aerial, a little easier to see. So you can see there's sort of the cluster development here, and the rest of it is vacant. But anticipation of that potentially developing, the developer's proposing a very thick, basically screen type of landscaping on that lot line. Also heavy landscaping in between the duplexes and the multifamily users. And then you can see all buildings have foundation plantings, and most of the open spaces in the multifamily development itself has landscaping integrated into it. It does have open lawn areas as well, but those, of course, are play areas as well. Stormwater management, as I had mentioned, excuse me, is located here in the far western portion of the site. When Public Works reviewed that, obviously the stormwater management plan will have to get approval from the Department of Public Works, but there are quite a few notes that they came up with. One was that the formal erosion control, drainage, and stormwater management plan, as well as the stormwater and drainage easements, must be established from this proposed detention basin running to the north through the county property up to County Road Y right-of-way. This would be an overflow, so it would overflow into the county's detention facilities on Y. Also, as we commonly recommend, we're recommending a more natural style of detention basin with the emergent plants on the safety shelf and native plants on the side slopes rather than the use of riprap. The existing sanitary sewer main appears to be constructed outside of previously granted sanitary sewer easements when it was originally done. This was done in the early 90s. So those easements are going to need to be adjusted as needed, including a limited access or security, possibly security gated gravel or hard surface drive over that easement area for Public Works vehicles to access that sanitary sewer line, and also a turnaround at the northwest corner of the property to accommodate that maintenance equipment. And then the last item, it appears that a portion of the sanitary sewer actually goes underneath the existing pond on that property, so the Department of Public Works is requiring a granting of additional sanitary sewer easements for the city to relocate that in the future outside of the pond area. Obviously, you don't want those systems going through the waterways themselves. Building elevations, this is the 8-unit building itself. As I had mentioned, the single and two-family lots are going to be marketed. We don't have any plans for that, but these buildings are about 28 feet tall. They include porches, balconies, on the side elevations, or the front and rear elevations, I should say, to help break up the overall mass of the roof and provide some building wall articulation, and you can kind of see that. You see the bump-out entryways. This, as I had mentioned, is an 8-unit building. This is the 16-unit building. It has the same design style, just a larger building. The exteriors of both buildings are going to be uniform in design. They're proposed to be entirely tan brick, include decorative vents in the gable ends, vinyl windows, decorative shutters, patio doors, and vinyl-clad wood balconies and supports. When we reviewed the side elevations of the buildings themselves, we kind of saw a large area, staff saw a large area of blank wall. And we were concerned with that, especially for the ones that face the new road or face Jackson Street. So we are suggesting that these side or end elevations that face Jackson or the new road, and it affects basically 5 properties or 5 of the buildings, be articulated further with adding 2 more windows on each one of these ends. We looked at the floor plans, first and second floor floor plans of the buildings. Those are bedrooms. They're open. They could support windows in that area. Now, we're not recommending that for every building, internal buildings, but definitely the ones that face the roadway. Again, you've heard us say this a lot of times, that we're trying to get that road and building relationship and curb appeal to a higher standard. So we're recommending that. We're also recommending that all vents and other appurtenances be colored or matched to complement the building itself. This is and this is the garage design. Obviously, the garages are in the middle. The ends would be the tan brick. Those are kind of facing outwards towards the street. One side is going to be primarily garage doors. There is one building that does have a rear side that doesn't have garage doors. It's a single-loaded building, and that would be vinyl sided, but tan to match. This is a property that has already been developed. It is the same building style design. This would be the 8-unit building. It doesn't have the entry side, but it has the other side. So this is an idea of what that building is going to look like. And you can also see the garage in that scenario as well. And then the last thing I had mentioned was the right-of-way vacation. I'll just kind of go back to the plan. I kind of touched upon that before. They're requesting a vacation of that previously dedicated but undeveloped Square Lake Drive, Bristol Drive, and portions of Western Drive and Nielsen Drive that were not built. They're all 60 feet wide, approximately 1,800 feet long when you combine them. Again, about 2.5 acres. Those rights-of-way, I have to go back even further, so I'm sorry. One more. Those rights-of-way, which are here, were designed as part of a previous plan development. They're not functioning for this development. They're not necessary. The preliminary plat includes new roadways. So as far as staff concerned, they could definitely be vacated. There has been communications with the town and the residents of Jackson Heights, and there is actually a cooperative agreement on the development of, or the closure of those roads as they exist today. So with all that being said, go to the recommendations. We are recommending, as I had said, do them in 3 separate motions. Recommendation to approve the zone change from the R1 single family to the R3 multiple family dwelling district with planned development overlay. We're recommending, well, do you want to go through each one individually, or should I go through them all at once?
Go through them all at once, but then we can discuss them individually.
Okay.
Is that-
Second one is we're recommending approval of the planned development for the mixed residential development with the following conditions. Base standard modification to allow the 3 monument signs as discussed, that the formal erosion control, drainage, and stormwater management plan, as well as the storm and drainage easements be established from the proposed detention basin to County Road Y, that the detention basin design is more natural without the use of riprap. Location of the sanitary sewer is verified and easement adjusted as needed, including the installation of a controlled gravel or hard surface area. That the sanitary sewer access drive, again, is limited to access. Granting additional sanitary sewer easements necessary to relocate that sanitary sewer that's underneath the pond. That the side and end apartment building elevations that face Jackson or the new road be further articulated with the addition of the windows, and that all vents and other appurtenances on the apartment buildings be colored to match the building itself. And then the third was we're recommending approval of the right-of-way vacation of Square Lake Drive, Bristol Drive, and portions of Western and Nielsen Drive as proposed.
Okay, let's look at the zone change first. Any technical questions on request A? Yes.
Just have one question in general. This will be 155 units. This is in the Oak Lawn/Merrill School District. Talk to anyone at the school district about the potential of a lot more children in that area?
I haven't specifically talked to them, but they get copies of the plans. They do sometimes make comment. We have not heard anything from them at this point. We do send it to the superintendent.
Well, we send it to, I think one of the school board members actually gets one of the agendas each week.
As well?
Yes.
Could potentially be a lot of children.
It's a big change.
Right, and we did meet with them not that long ago about the multiple apartment projects, the 2 on the east side of Jackson that have just, Soda Creek and the Jackson Square, as well as this one, and so they're somewhat aware.
I'll just respond to the child issue. What we're seeing is a demographic with these, with the multiple family developments. They're not generating as many, especially if it's not a tax credit project, low income tax credit project, something like that. They're not generating as many children as you would normally see in a house. It's the numbers are actually less, because what you're seeing here is generally these are young professionals that are working in maybe in Oshkosh, Appleton, or maybe correctional facilities out there. So they're not generating as many kids as would normally, say, a big residential subdivision. Now you do have some lots on there, but that's not a lot of residential lots. So just as a demographic, you're not seeing a lot of kids living in these things.
These will be market rate apartments.
Correct. Well, as far as we know, yeah.
anything else on zone change? If it's okay with everybody, then I'm going to do each of these individually, just with public commentary for each individual one, if that's all right. Okay. Anybody here from the public to speak about the zone change? Okay, back to the commission. Do we want to vote on it? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Been seconded. Any questions on the motion or additions? All right, let's go through, let's vote on an E.
Owen?
Aye.
Stevens?
Aye.
Cummings?
Aye.
Crop?
Aye.
Gray?
Aye.
Weigert?
Aye.
Wojtek?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay. Request B, the staff development, which has a lot more conditions. Technical questions, Brown? Start with Ed and then Gary.
Just a couple of quick ones. The temporary cul-de-sac that's on sort of the southwest portion of that site plan, under what circumstances, I guess, does that get connected down to Western?
Do you remember those?
Yep, the circumstances of that, when that will get connected at some point is when like 90% of the properties to the south come into the city of Oshkosh.
Okay.
So.
And is that part of the, that actually leads into my next question, is that part of the agreement dealing with the Norton
Yes.
Avenue driveway closure that's
Yes,
out
that
there?
was part of that agreement.
Okay,
Correct.
so you have a larger agreement dealing with that Norton Avenue closure that also encompasses this and provides for a roadmap to how that gets connected.
That's correct. This
Okay.
was, when you saw that original proposal that brought this other road to the south, was part of that agreement that we had worked out between the state of Wisconsin DOT and the town as part of the intergovernmental agreement process. They got rid of this Norton Avenue
Yeah.
in favor of this, and this connection will come at some point when I think the number's 90%.
So 90% of those Jackson Heights lots that are out there, once those are annexed into the city,
Then we could
then
connect.
that road then connects between the two.
Correct.
And is that agreement that you've got between the town, the city, and the DOT, that's like signed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is in place, there's no,
Correct.
No, the town's gone through on their end and vacated or agreed to get rid of this connection down here.
gotcha. Cool.
Gary?
Yes. Was there any discussion in regards to that type of building materials that these buildings will be using to be built?
There wasn't any discussion with the developer. The brick is typically one of our favored building materials, so we are pretty happy with the tan brick being proposed.
Okay.
We did discuss the cladding of the decks and patios. These were originally just wood. We did recommend that they clad them vinyl, and they did that.
I also think in our review, they're consistent with what we're proposing with the zoning code update. So they're also consistent with what we're
Okay.
currently considering.
Okay. Look, I guess the last question I have is, well, I'm a little bit concerned about the access to this property on the new street to Jackson. In regards, specifically in regards to the left-hand turns. Has any review or study been made in regards to traffic flow on those? Because if you make a left-hand turn coming out of the street, you'll be crossing the southbound Jackson and going north on Jackson. And obviously, if you're going north on Jackson to turn into this property, you'll be turning left. And I guess the question is, has any study been made in regards to any potential problems with that?
Well, we actually had talked to the DOT with this at one time, and we had asked if they'd recommended putting a median in the road, and this one, they didn't put a recommendation on that. So when they looked at it, there was no issue from a traffic flow standpoint.
David, could you pull the aerial photo back up, please?
That is interesting.
That's also part, remember, it's also part of
Do
the
you
reason
have
why
one
you're getting
zoomed in a
rid of
little
the
bit more,
road
David,
itself.
or no?
This one. close as it
If I remember correctly, and I may not, because I don't drive that area a whole lot, is there the double left lane in the middle of Jackson at this point? Can you see in the air photo, David?
I cannot tell.
That's what I was trying.
I can't remember if the double left is still in place in this,
I don't think
in
it
this
is that
area.
far out.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I couldn't remember where exactly it ended.
Well, it just seems a little bit interesting by the fact that I think there was development south of there that there was a problem with the turns, and there was special effort made in regards to resolving that. But anyhow, okay, no problems, let's go on.
Other technical questions regarding the plan development piece of the puzzle here? Okay, anybody here from the public here to speak about the plan development? Okay, seeing none, back to the commission.
Motion to approve B.
Second.
Moved
all
and
the
seconded.
conditions.
Moved by,
With conditions.
second by Ed. Okay, any discussion on the motion? All right, let's call a roll on that.
Bowen,
Aye.
Hintz,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Crop. Aye. Gray,
Aye.
Weigert,
Aye.
Wojtek.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Finally, request C, right-of-way vacation. Do we have any questions about that from a technical standpoint? Doesn't look like it. Anybody here to speak to the right-of-way vacation? Once? Twice? Okay, back to the commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there a question on this?
I just have a quick comment.
Yes.
That it's just so nice to see the city and the town cooperating.
I agree,
in
especially in
such
that
a-
particular area.
In such a
Yeah.
friendly and cohesive manner.
Oh, that might be.
I think that's starting to tear up over there. Any other heartwarming comments from the commission? All right, let's call a roll.
Bowen,
Aye.
Hintz,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Crop.
Aye.
Gray,
Aye.
Weigert,
Aye.
Wojtek.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right, good work. Nice. Are there any items, business you want us to talk about before we adjourn for workshop?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're adjourned and we have workshop coming.